There's a wonderful book that came out recently called Judaism for the World by Rabbi Arthur Green. And he has a wonderful chapter in there, short but very rich, about Hanukkah. And he summarizes it really in two words. The first word is light. The second word is miracles. But he defines miracle as our capacity, our experience of wonder, our experience of marveling. Now, something is parallel with the Christmas, because Christmas actually didn't occur, the first official Christmas, till 336. That's the 4th century, of course. And that's because while the Christians were underground a lot for the first century and a half, fighting the empire, they didn't gather for a Christmas occasion really until the year 336. And that was after Constantine became emperor and then converted to Christianity. And then he made kind of a universal celebration. He also built the church at the Nativity in Bethlehem, supposedly where the spot where Jesus was born and so forth. So I'm just pointing out that there's an evolution in these feast days, and yet both of them have in common the emphasis on light. And of course, that has a lot to do with the time of the year, the low point, if you will, the winter solstice, and the darkest time of the year in the Northern Hemisphere. But both feast days then have that in common, the celebration, the miracle of light. Of course, for the Jewish people, it was the light of the Hanukkah candle. And for the Christians, it was the light of the Christ coming at the darkest time of the year. Light is the most common synonym for divinity around the world. With all the world religions, it gets that kind of attention. And then, if we add today's teaching from science, that matter is frozen light. That's postmodern science. That's David Bohm's words. Matter is frozen light. So, to me, that's an incredible affirmation of what the religious traditions are saying here, that all matter contains light. We now know that there are photons, light waves, in every atom in the universe. And then, of course, Einstein said that he wanted to spend his whole life doing nothing but studying light. Of course, Einstein is Jewish, comes from that Hanukkah tradition. And so this gathering around light is so powerful. And really, I interpret that scientific statement to be an affirmation of the real meaning of incarnation, that the light of divinity has joined the light of matter, where in fact matter is light, frozen light, slow-moving light. That is the celebration of creation and of everything that Christmas stands for and that Hanukkah stands for. In the Jewish tradition, in the Genesis 1, and we're told that light was the first creation. And that's not the sunlight, because the sun comes later in the evolution, the creation story in Genesis, but that there was light before the sun. It was a different kind of light. It was more like a divine and subtle and mysterious light. And this is a light that enlightens human beings. This is a light that visits us in the person of Christ, but in so many other ways as well. In fact, in the bush that burned that Moses experienced, we now know that every bush is a burning bush, because every bush contains this light that is the photons that illuminate or make possible every atom in the universe. The cosmic Christ is a celebration of the light in all things. That's what John 1 says, that the Logos, the Word of God, is a light in all beings. So it's an absolute gathering of the universe. Now, of course, no one knew back then, or indeed up to 5 years ago, that there were 2 trillion galaxies, each with hundreds of billions of stars. That's a big universe. But in terms of light, the light is present in all those galaxies and all those stars. And that's how we know about them. And that's how we know about the 13.8 billion years that bring us here. And so the Christ is present in all of us. That light is present in us. But we humans, unlike the other creatures, have to work on polishing it up and paying attention to it. We get so distracted by our agendas and our problems that we wander from what it really means to be human. And I think that's really at the heart of Jesus' teaching, is causing us to remember what it means to be human. And to be human means we are capable of compassion. We are capable of peace. We are capable of forgiveness. We are capable of joy. And the cosmic Christ is a reminder that this energy is really one energy. As Judaism teaches, as Islam teaches, everything is one. The oneness itself is God. That's the name for God. And that we humans are invited to undergo oneing, as Julian of Norwich calls it, that we can one with the divine. The other creatures one with the divine, but they don't have to think about it. Thomas Merton, the great Catholic monk, whose picture actually is over my head here behind me, he says that every non-two-legged creature is a saint. It's only the humans who have to return because we wander so far and we get so involved with our own narcissism and all the rest. So I think that the cosmic Christ is a reminder that we're part of a great whole, and the whole itself is holy. And of course, science reminds us, you take the film of the history of the universe and run it backwards, and it all goes back to one place, to a dot smaller than a zygote that burst into the fireball and into everything that's happened since. So it's all one. That's the cosmic Christ. It's all one. It's all glorious. It's all glistening. It's all a gift. And that's what we're invited to fall in love with all over again.